First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here this morning. As we all know, we are in the month of April, which is Autism Awareness Month. And as you know, my name is Mariano Mula. I am 25 years of age, and I'm on the spectrum. And I think it will be appropriate to talk about a very important subject, which is, of course, autism. Yeah. But first, to understand more about it, let's go back to the beginning. Back then, the word autism actually derived from the Greek word autos, meaning self, which is describing a person who is removing himself out of, normal life in society, staying away from it and get stuck in your own world. And it's and the word autism actually was first coined by a Swiss psychiatrist by the name of Eugene Bleuler, who originally he described autism originally to an adult individual with schizophrenia. In other words, it's kind of like, a form of schizophrenia, if you know what I mean. But this is not what we're talking about. But it was not until the 1940s when American pediatrician Leo Kanner first identified autism on children. And of course, at the same time, Hans Asperger, a very famous German scientist, actually, also identified another form of autism, which were the same. Now, autism and schizophrenia remain linked in many researchers' minds until the 1960s. It was only that the medical profession began to have a separate understanding of autism in children. And from the 1960s to the 1970s, research into the treatment of autism focused on medications such as LSD, electric shock, and behavior changes techniques. That latter relied on the pain punishment. And of course, in the 1980s and 1990s, the role of behavioral therapy and the use of highly controlled learning environments emerged as the primary treatment for many forms of autism. So let's go to the next page. Now, as we all know, autism has many versions. I mean, let's just face it, it's not just one, but just so many versions. So let's start with starting off with the most severe of autism, which is spastic autism, which means that, that a child cannot be able to communicate and not strong enough to, take care of themselves, And it's kind of difficult because you see somebody on the spectrum that is not strong enough to actually say anything, and that's difficult. But that's just how it is. Then, of course, there's high-functioning autism, which means that, yes, you still have the characteristics of an autistic individual, but at the same time, you have what I call the genius quality, Like, you actually have the ability to learn things, think a lot better. And of course, like I mentioned, Asperger's syndrome, which is another form of high-functioning autism, and of course named after the German scientist that I was talking about earlier. Then of course there's childhood disintegrative disorder, Rett disorder, and PDD, better known as persistent developmental disorder. Well, to understand that you have somebody that is in a spectrum and you think that something is wrong with that person, these are the characteristics. And that's a lot, see? For example, very little or no eye contact, Like, for example, I'm looking at you right now, but at the same time, I have a difficult time, so I'm looking at you right now. And of course, there's so many things, there's so many things. And of course, that's, the flapping of the hands, and the rocking, and, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many characteristics of what autism is all about. And you can definitely tell by when you see somebody who has it. So, as protected, the new rate of autism 1 in 68, March 2004, this year. Now, of course, it seems like, every single children every year are going to be diagnosed with it, and you can definitely tell by those statistics right there. And let me read this part real quick. Let me read to you this part. 1 in every 68 children in the U.S. has autism. It is estimated that almost 2 million individuals in the U.S. have autism. These statistics are endorsed by the Center of Autism Control and Prevention and the American Academy of Pediatrics and other federal agencies. And as you can see, to understand, about it, to get some quick education about what autism is, this is a bibliography. I know that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot, but some quick education will help you better. Well, let me take this moment to actually about, of course, and now that you all learned about the history of it and all of the different things that you need to learn about it, of course, let me explain to you about how the future it is for people on the spectrum. And as you can see, this is Dr. Deborah Brandon, who, like me, is also on the spectrum. She's an animal activist, and an activist for autism. And I think it's also great, and I really choose her because she is indeed to me the feature of it. And she's using her story to inspire everybody. And with that being said, you're having a wonderful audience. My name is Mariano Buna. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.